Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome to a new episode of The Robe That Binds Us, ahlusunnah waljama'aah. Today, inshallah, we'll talk about the principles of driving rulings and understanding textual evidence from the authentic source of the religion. After talking about the authentic source of the religion, where we can drive and take our belief and rules from, what's the authentic source that Muslims should refer to? Today, inshallah, we'll talk about some principles which can guide us how to understand these textual evidence and how can we drive rulings and drive rulings from it and to establish rules from it. And I believe this issue is very important because it will put all of us in the same platform. How can we deal and interact with the textual evidence in the right and the correct way and the right manners? Let's start with the first rule. The general rule is to understand text based on zahir without ta'wil or tafwid. I know that there's three Arabic words here and we need to understand what these words means. And I put the Arabic terminologies on purpose because I don't see there is any a single word can really express the meaning of these three words, al-dhahir, al-ta'wil, and al-tafwid. But let's see what these words means. What is zahir? What do we mean by zahir? That every textual evidence, a Quran or Sunnah, a verse or a hadith, or a statement from the Prophet ﷺ, it should be, we should take the zahir from it. What do we mean by al-zahir? Al-zahir is the obvious meaning. What do we mean by that? Whenever you hear a word, any word, or somebody make a statement, there is always an obvious meaning you will understand from what that person said. That first meaning come to your mind. If you are familiar with the language that person talking with, you will be able to understand what we call it zahir, or an obvious meaning from his statement. Regardless even what is his languages. If he's speaking in Arabic, English, French, Spanish, Tagalog, Urdu, whatever language he is using, he or she, there will always something called zahir, an obvious meaning, and meaning which is not obvious, or a heading meaning maybe in the statement or in the word that person using. Give you an example. If I tell you that I am Muslim, the obvious meaning that you will understand from this statement that I am one of the follower of the religion of Islam, which is the religion of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the obvious meaning. If I tell you I was today in the zoo and I saw a strong lion, you will understand that I was in the zoo and inside the zoo I saw that animal which is called lion. That's the obvious meaning. That's basically what you will understand. It sounds like simple and common sense. It's not that complicated. But unfortunately, it was not that simple with some people when they dealt with the textual evidence. Let me give you another example and see how you understand this example. If I tell you that in the battle, the army was led by a lion, or the leader of this army, he is a lion, nobody will ever say that he understood from this statement that the leader of that army, the fighter in that battle, was the animal, which is the lion. No, you will basically understand that it's a figurative speech, that I said I compared the leader or that brave man to the lion because he's so brave, he's so strong like the lion. But the obvious meaning is not the lion, the animal. The obvious meaning, you understand that this is a great leader, he's a strong man, that's why he looks like a lion, that's why I call him a lion. This is the obvious meaning. This is al-zahir. This is what we call al-zahir. So basically, the first meaning come to your mind if you're familiar with the nature of that language, or the obvious meaning, that's what you call it al-zahir. هو المعنى المتبادر إلى الذهن. المعنى المتبادر إلى الذهن. Okay, let's see what's next. What is ta'wil? What is ta'wil? Ta'wil is to give another meaning to the text. Another meaning to the text. Or another meaning to the word. Another meaning to the text. If I say something, but you understand it in other meaning. You give it basically other than the obvious meaning. Other than the obvious meaning. That's what is ta'wil. And I will talk about it a little bit now more. What is tafweed? Tafweed is to believe that the meaning of the words are unknown to us. So I'm using words, you don't understand what it means. Using words or making a statement which has no meaning. At least you don't know what's the meaning. Maybe somebody else knows the meaning. That's what you call tafweed. That's what you call tafweed. So remember, the obvious meaning, it's al-zahir. Giving another meaning other than the obvious, it's the ta'wil. And saying that these words has no, or the meaning of these words are unknown to us, that's what you call it tafweed. Okay, why I'm saying all this? Because we should understand the text of Quran and Sunnah based on al-zahir, based on the obvious meaning. So if somebody came and say, this verse doesn't mean that, he gave this verse another meaning, For instance, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He loves the believers, He loves the good deeds, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those who has good manners. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those who support others. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those who are good to their parents, or taking care of their families, or their wives, or their husbands, and so on. So, if this is the case, what the obvious meaning that Allah loves those people. That's right. If somebody said, no, Allah doesn't love, He doesn't love them. He gave another meaning to the word love by saying, Allah reward them. But He doesn't, there is no love here. This is switching the meaning. That's going to another meaning other than the obvious meaning. Other than the obvious meaning. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, perform the prayer. And somebody said, oh, it doesn't mean that we have to perform the prayer. It could mean it is maybe good to perform the prayer. It's up to you to pray or not. But the word's very clear. It's an order. Perform the prayer. Or pray on time. You say, so if you switch the meaning, if you give other than the obvious meaning, that's what you call ta'wil. That you switch the meaning, or you change, you give another meaning other than the obvious meaning. Why we should stick to the al-zahir? Why we should keep the al-zahir, the obvious meaning of the word, or of any statement that we read in the Quran or Sunnah? For so many reasons. One, this is the nature of the Arabic language. This is the nature of the Arabic language. Actually, this is the nature of any language. If you communicate with anybody, always I will understand the obvious meaning, or the first meaning it comes to my mind when I hear you talking. That's the nature of any language. Otherwise we are using riddles. Otherwise we are playing games with each other. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that Al-Quran was revealed by pure Arabic language. نزل به الروح الأمين على قلبك لتكون من المنذرين بلسان عربي مبين. بلسان عربي مبين. In a clear Arabic language. In a clear Arabic language. إنا أنزلناه قرآنا عربيا لعلكم تعقلون. Surely we have revealed it, an Arabic Quran that you may understand. So this is the nature of the Quran. It's in the Arabic language. And this Arabic language, this is the way the people communicate. When they say something, you should understand only the obvious meaning of my talking, unless I intend, or I give you a hint, or I give you a word that shows you that I don't mean the obvious meaning. Also, this the nature of the Quran. This is the nature of the Quran. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the nature of the Quran. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have sent this book to guide us. To guide us. To explain things to us. It's huda, it's a guidance. It is clear, it's mubin, wadih, clear, no doubt about it. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, بِلِسَانٍ عَرَبِيٍّ مُبِينٍ, in clear Arabic language. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, a guidance and good news for the believer. Surah 27 and verse 2. And also Surah 26 verse 195. So this book intend to guide people, not to lead to confusion. Because if you said the obvious meaning, not intend, so which meaning you mean? If you want to take other than the obvious meaning, if we have 3 or 4 other interpretation for the verse, which one you will go with? And this will lead to confusion. This will lead to confusion. Also, we can decide which interpretation is the correct one if we follow the obvious meaning. If we follow the obvious meaning. If we follow the obvious meaning. Also, this is the way of the early Muslim generation, rahimahumullah ta'ala, the Salaf al-Salih, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they did not use to give other than the obvious meaning to explain the verses, Claiming that other than the obvious meaning is meant is an attack upon the trustworthiness of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam indeed. Why? Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained everything to us. If the Prophet ﷺ wants us not to understand the textual evidence based on al-Zahir, which is the nature of the Arabic language, this is the way the Arab talk and understand, and also this is the way the Quran explaining to us. If this not intent, and the Prophet never in a single time told us, don't understand the Quran based on al-Zahir. There is always another meaning for the verses. He never said that. That means that the Prophet ﷺ led us to be confused. He did not explain to us what we need to be able to understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. No doubt no Muslim can say that. No Muslim can claim that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala criticized people before us that when the verses of the Quran came to them, they changing it. They change it. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, مِنَ الَّذِينَ هَادُوا يحرفون الكلمة عن مواضعه. Of the Jews, there are those who displace words from their places. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said also, أفتطمعون أن يؤمنوا لكم وقد كان فريق منهم يسمعون كلام الله ثم يحرفونه من بعد ما عقلوه وهم يعلمون. Do you then hope that they would believe in you? And a party of them, among them, indeed used to hear the word of Allah, then alterated it after they had understood it. So this is not the way that Allah wants us to take. He wants us to take the way of the believers who believe in the textual evidence or the text of Quran and Sunnah the way it was revealed. Unfortunately, we are out of time today. Please join us in the next time, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum.